Sometime later, and while Telescria is being reconstructed, Thetis gives a speech to all of his allies, stating that the Viltrum War is over. Over the last 24 hours, they've received nearly 80% of the worlds counted as a part of the Viltrum Empire. These worlds have abandoned their Viltrumite overlords mainly because of the fact that a few Viltrumites have taken their side. They all see the coalition as being stronger than the Empire was, and without the previous overlords around, they've now switched sides. Pondering a question though, he asks where the Viltrumites have gone. This recent abandonment of previous worlds seems to align with his assistant's intel about the Viltrumites regrouping on Viltrum and staging one last final strike against them. With this being their last strike, his plan is to launch a preemptive counterattack and strike before they have any real time to start planning. They will meet them on their home turf and destroy what little hope of succeeding they have left. In response, Oliver responds with an excited "hell yeah." Of course, out of like absolutely everyone, only Oliver's gassed up. I can't wait for what happens to bro, just you guys wait. Following this, all 7 of them get on a spaceship and head off in preparation for battle. A little while later, Thetis tells the boys that they are minutes away from the planet and need everyone to gather in the main hangar. Leaving the hangar, the 7 of them then begin flying towards Viltrum. Confused, Mark asks why they didn't go closer with the ship, to which Thetis clarifies that the planet itself is a tomb. It's a monument to those who fell victim to the Scourge virus. There are also many reasons the Viltrumites would choose to set up a staging ground here, the symbolism mainly, but also as a memorial to those fallen. Down on the surface, the planet holds a number of space defenses, making it difficult for anyone to navigate their way too closely. Having gotten close enough themselves, Mark then starts to see a ring of what he thinks could be bodies. Getting this confirmed for him, Thetis explains how the fallen are preserved by the coldness of space. That there is the monument to their sacrifice. That is why the planet is a tomb. There is nothing of the place he once knew. That time is long forgotten, dead to anyone who once knew it. Picking up speed, the group tries to make a surprise entrance. Lying in wait though, Thula sends her hairblade at the group's leader, hitting him with a gnarly backshot. In immediate retaliation, Battle Beast smashes her across the face with his mace, then grabs her head with his hulking fist. Noticing a force approaching, Thetis then tells everyone to get ready. Nolan, Mark, and Thetis witness Thragg lead the charge in their direction. Screaming out, he states to all of those who make themselves an enemy of the Viltrumite Empire, prepare yourselves for death. Seeing how grossly outnumbered they are here, Thetis tells them to move from opponent to opponent quickly so they never get overwhelmed. Wishing that Space Racer was in this battle, bro then boasts onto the scene while apologizing for taking so damn long. It's just his damn birds took too long to get locked in place. Firing the gliffity glip, Space Racer lays havoc to the Viltrumite forces, even blowing one dude's shoulder completely off. Then, without waiting a second longer, he releases the Ragnar, who are now under the control of his mind control devices. The beasts then start devouring the enemy forces, leaving Thragg completely stunned with the loss of men. Speaking up, he tells his men to not fight them, avoid the beasts, and let the vastness of space be their demise. Anissa rushes to Nolan and scoffs in his face. She says that even though he gave them all of their weaknesses, it's still not going to work. In another bout, a Viltrumite attempts to suffocate Zack. Luckily, Ellen pops in and punches the dude's head straight off his damn shoulders. Having watched his Viltrum buddy get slaughtered right in front of his eyes, his boy rushes in to avenge him. However, Ellen easily turns and violates him with a brutal uppercut. Nearby, Mark and Oliver fight off Viltrumites in their own skirmish. A filthy Viltrumite pureblood finds the fact that Oliver, an inferior half-breed, is here utterly infuriating. Shutting his ass down though, Oliver drops down low and lands a blow on the Viltrumite's nut, sending his future lineage straight into the Shadow Realm. Quickly catching back up with his Space Ghost Rider, Thragg punches him off his hovercycle and states that the Viltrum Empire will win this battle. Begging that the Moran shuts his pie hole already, Mark rushes to engage Thragg, much to Thetis' worry, who screams out for someone to stop him. Thragg tenses as Mark attacks him with a punch, causing it to have little to no effect on him. Throwing his hand back, Thragg backhands the dude back off him. Flying over himself, Oliver calls Thragg out, saying a black hole just called and it wants its suck back. Easily catching his pathetic punch though, Thragg jokes that he is so very funny, always cracking jokes. He's even a man who enjoys a joke or two himself. Squeezing down on his arm, he asks the kid to stop him if he's heard this one. Punching Oliver across the face, Thragg tears off his arm and breaks his jaw effortlessly. Watching this, Anissa grabs a stunned Nolan, while nearby, Mark rushes back in to attack him. Slamming into him from behind, Mark screams that he killed his brother. Throwing his fists forward in a pure display of dominance, Mark tries to take Thragg down, but only manages to give him a slight nosebleed. Thragg mocks Mark, stating that he is in over his head, and that Conquest even feared him. Socking him with a hard right hook though, Mark reveals that he killed Conquest, and now he will kill him. Having overheard what Pro just said, a few Viltrumites look up in pure astonishment, realizing that that dude was somehow the one who defeated Conquest. With Anissa distracted, Nolan then punches her while confidently stating that everything she heard was damn true. Getting a brief moment of respite, Thetis tells Space Racer to come to him as they need to attempt something the enemy just won't expect. Over in his own fight, Battle Beast uses the Viltrumite Thula as a weapon and swings her around, smashing her into a few other Viltrumites. As everyone then manages to get closer to each other, Thetis tells all of them to follow him. On cue, he tells Space Racer to fire his gun into the dead center of the planet. Shooting off a blast from his gun, the group quickly follows it down towards the planet below. Thetis reminds them all that they have to time this perfectly and all reach the surface at the exact same time. If the core even has a moment to stabilize, they could easily die here. Not being able to keep up with the main trio, Alan and Tech Jacket decide to fend off the main assault above them, while Mark, Nolan, and Thetis move at what I can only freaking assume is light speed. Seeing that Mark was beginning to slip behind the two oldies though, Nolan pulls him in close to match their exact speed. Entering the planet's atmosphere, the three turn into a massive beam of light that descends down after the Space Racer's attack. I like how you can barely see Space Racer's bullet anymore that's going towards the surface, even though it was massive up in space. The alien shot then hits the planet's surface, opening up a small enough hole for all three of them to go down to their planet's core. Immediately boosting it down that hole, the trio quickly reach the planet's inner core, causing the surface to quickly start ripping apart. Exploding out of the other side of the planet, the group successfully manages to destroy the planet's Viltrum. However, moments after making it out of the blast zone, Viltrumite soldiers grab a hold of them and pin them down. Mark and Thetis are relentlessly pummeled, while Nolan is just barely held back by two random ass dudes. The planet's destruction though then causes an extremely violent second shockwave that knocks every single combatant in the battle unconscious. After slowly coming back to reality, Mark rushes over to catch Oliver, who was left floating nearby, slowly leaving the battlefield. Awake himself now, Thetis speaks to all Viltrumites, letting them know that the war is over. They no longer have a planet, nor any place to run. The entire universe is united against them, and the best thing for them to do would simply be to surrender. So that there brings us to the very end of the, Mark along with his dad and Thetis destroying the entire Viltrumite planet and pretty much anyone that's kind of left over of their race. There's around 36 or 37 Viltrumites left in total, so after what Mark's done here, the race is extremely limited. I'd love to know obviously all of your thoughts down in the comment section below and kind of what you think about the consequences that Mark deserves, or perhaps even the coalition could deserve, for destroying an entire planet. It is pretty ruthless at the end of the day, wiping out a race of people. That being said, subscribe if you are new around here and enjoyed the video, as it really helps out in pushing my content to a bunch of new amazing people. Plus, if you want to get early access to all of my videos, then feel free to become a YouTube member or check out the Patreon, which I'll leave linked down below. But for now, it's been your professional degenerate Diavolo, and I'll see you all in a bit. Bye.